o'clock. Good evening and welcome to tonight's Hobart Workshop committee meeting of Monday the 21st of July 2025, which is being held in the Lady Osborne room. I'd just like to advise all that tonight's meeting is being recorded on audio and does get posted onto YouTube for the public.
Yeah, they changed the act.
So these are the new rules and regulations relating to our workshop meetings. Okay, and today present at the meeting we have Councillor Ryan Posselt, Councillor Ben Lohberger, Councillor Gemma Kistos, Councillor Alderman Bill Harvey, Councillor Ron, Councillor Mike Cutter, Alderman Louise Bloomfield, Councillor Louise Elliott, Alderman Marty Zuko, and I'm chairing the meeting, Councillor John Kelly. Are there any apologies for the meeting from anyone tonight? Deputy Lord Mayor, Linda Sherlock is an apology. Leave of absence, no leave of absence recorded from anywhere. I'd just like to remember the original inhabitants of this land, the Murruwina people. I'd also like to remember those who come against this country, to their country against their will, incarcerated and never returned to their homeland, to those who fought in the wars, and to those who have worked on council and contributed to the place that Hobart is today. I'd just like also to briefly mention the passing of Alderman John Freeman, and I think that'll be more mentioned in the next council meeting. Confirmation of minutes, item number 2. The minutes of the open portion of the Hobart Workshop Committee meeting held on Monday the 14th of July 2025 are submitted for confirming as an accurate record. Could I have a move for that, please? Thank you, Councillor Elliott. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Nobody. I declare the motion is carried. Item number 3, consideration of supplementary items. Are there any?
No, there's not, Chair.
Okay, no supplementary items. We'll move on to item number 4, indications of conflict of interest. Members of the committee are requested to indicate whether they have or may have or likely to have any interest in conflicts of interest in any of the items on the agenda tonight. That being none, we'll move on to item number 5, transfer of agenda items. Are there any items proposed for transfer either in the open or closed agenda tonight?
No, Chair, but I will just mention that we meant to withdraw item 7.2, Stormwater and Waterways briefing, because our manager, Stormwater and Waterways, is sick. So we'll schedule that for the next workshop.
Okay, and I ask the elected member to move that that's okay to be rescheduled. Thank you, Councillor Posselt. All those in favour? Aye. Against? Carry the motion. Item number 6, officer reports. 6.1 is the 24-25 annual plan, the final report for the financial year. I'd invite an elected member to move this motion tonight.
I'd like to make a comment before I
Sure.
move, if that's all right. And that is that I did look through this. Generally, I was
thank you. I was generally quite happy with it, but I was really quite saddened to see that Pillar 4 only had effectively one element, and that was to promote small business. It wasn't to actually look at anything constructive to kind of build our city around to support business. So I do hope that our following year will have a little bit more on the table than just promoting business. I just don't think that that is what Pillar 4 is about.
Thank you. That's,
so other than that, I'll move.
Moved by Alderman Louise Bloomfield. All those in favour? Oh, sorry, we did that at the end, don't we? So I'll invite the Senior Advisor, Strategic Planning, Chief Financial Officer and the Director of Corporate Services to the table to introduce this. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Chair. I'll take the report as read, and also the attachment there that provides detail about what's been achieved today. But you'll note that in the first part of the attachment there, about the status or overview of progress, that in fact 86% of the annual plan items were either complete or on track for completion. And in fact, the 2 items, or 7%, that are identified as on hold, are actually due to factors outside the council's control and were subject to third parties, particularly the state government. So there's that 7% there. And those projects that were delayed, of which there was 7%, and again only 2 projects related to that particular category, they'll be completed in 2025. So overall, I feel that it's been a strong performance by the council or the city as to implement the items within the annual plan for 24-25. And as you can see, we've had a pretty strong success rate at 86% completion or on track. But happy to take comments from myself or other directors as it relates to them.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'd like to open it up for discussion or questions, and Councillor Dutta.
Thank you very much. Just 2 questions with regards to page 10, item. Give me 1 minute, please. Just, there was the negotiation and discussion with the Glenorchy City Council. I wonder how that is progressing.
Slowly. Okay, so,
Yes. So can we know what's happened and where is it? Because I think from memory, this goes back more than 18 months.
Oh, goes back a long time in terms of obviously the reform process and where that landed. Obviously the council is keen to explore opportunities with Glenorchy. A lot of our focus has been on the waste management area, opportunities that we're able to get some synergies in that space, and that's going to be a longer term sort of proposition for us. Obviously we're working with our current waste management strategy. They're reviewing and looking at how they might be able to incorporate their work into ours. So that there's opportunity there for ours. Other opportunities that we are talking to them about are in the IT space as well. Obviously we're doing our IT review at the current time, which councillors have been briefed on. They're quite progressed in a reform process for their enterprise system, but I think there may be an opportunity that they're reviewing that as well, and they might be able to work more closely with us. So those 2 areas, IT and waste management, are the 2 prominent areas. The last meeting I had with Tony before he retired actually had included Emilio, the new CEO, as well. So we've had some crossover in terms of those processes. So look, it's going to take a fair while, I think, to get some on the ground results from that process.
Okay, and just one more. I think 2.3.2 it is. With regards to the master plan for the hockey centre, officers are looking at other options for housing sites. Where are these options that have been looked at?
So there's a list of potential options which we will workshop with the council. That's basically looking at the complete I guess ownership stock that the council have of land across the municipal area, that there is land that potentially could be made available for alternative development. So equally though, we're doing that, we're also looking at a broader process around the hockey centre side and having a broader master plan that picks up the Cornelian Bay and the Newtown work as well. So there's multiple sort of pieces of work that are happening as a result of that project being initiated now. So.
Thank you.
Can I just add on that one too? The Glenorchy Council got $500,000 to do a sort of another corridor activation plan, and I think they're going to come into our their project is meant to come into Newtown as well.
Yeah, so that $500,000 actually was to us as well. So it's being administered by the Glenorchy. We need to, and we're drafting an MOU in terms of what our expectations are around the Newtown. So this is based on the rapid transit corridor, and so obviously a lot of it's in their area, but obviously we've got some in ours. So we've had an involvement in the development of there's a PD position description being developed to put someone into to administer that, to deliver that, and we'll have an MOU around what we expect to see delivered in terms of our side of that.
Yeah, great. Because I wouldn't want us to just dismiss the potential of some of those sites very close to the corridor
No.
at this stage until we've looked a bit more deeply.
Yeah.
And there's also the Kmart, sort of this huge area, obviously. You know,
Yeah,
maybe
so look,
someone
we
might
are
read
involved
it
in it, and so the money is, whilst it's substantive amount, would be obviously focused on that. Their area it's still it's intended that it pick up. I think even down into it's the Newtown area, but even through into Domain and that larger space. So.
Councillor Lohberger.
Thank you, Chair. I just have a question for you, I guess, the appropriate officers. It's about 7.4.4. It's just the development of the National Sustainable Neighbourhood Plan. It just mentions in a comment or an update next to it, it just says the legislation related to the Sandy Bay campus has not progressed to the Legislative Council due to the state election. It's my understanding that Parliament was prorogued, and in fact that legislation is now dead. So while it hasn't progressed, it's gone nowhere. It's actually, we'll have to start again from scratch rather than being stuck in the Parliament, which is the comment there. I just wondered if you could just update that. Page 20, attachment A.
So it says that legislation has not progressed through the Legislative Council due to the state election, but you'd like that due to the state election just to be clarified, or because it's factually correct. It hasn't progressed.
No, it's no longer. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It no longer exists. I guess that's probably what I prefer to say.
Yeah.
It's got to go through the lower house again.
Yeah.
It's got to start again.
We can certainly clarify that.
Thank you.
Councillor Bosholt.
Thank you, Chair. Just very briefly on Councillor Lohberger's point, I feel like we might be in a state of continual delay with the Sandy Bay Nelson Management Plan, and I would probably encourage us to just go ahead with what we know. Like, we don't even know what the next state Parliament's going to look like, and I'm pretty sure the Sandy Bay situation is very low down their list of priorities to sort out. How far advanced is the plan that's been going for 2 years?
Yes, you will, sorry, through the Chair, you will recall that we agreed to do an options paper with this discussions paper. And that's certainly well advanced, but we were obviously holding off until we understood what the outcome was of the Sandy Bay campus, because obviously that's a hot button item for the community. I mean, we could certainly bring it forward in 2 to 3 months, that discussion paper, if it was a wish of the council, but we were hoping to have a resolution on that matter at State Parliament. So any discussions we had around that was understood.
Just to follow up, Director, is the discussion paper framed in a manner that it's essential that we have that state resolution, or could and should it be framed up in what UTAS have said they will do, which is to keep STEM there?
Yeah.
Is that so we can progress it based
on
that?
Yeah, certainly we could. That's the way we frame it.
Yeah.
If this goes on for too long, and we had to the end of this calendar year that we were going to wait, and if no resolution was coming from the State Parliament, then we were going to bring forward a discussion paper then. But if Council wanted to bring it forward further, then we could certainly deliver that in September, October.
Yeah, thank you. I guess some comments on that. I did note in the annual plan that the 2 items that are on hold are both items that are outside of our control. So the Public Health Emergency Management Plan, we're waiting on stuff from the Department of Health. I can't remember what the other one was. In a North East, we're waiting, in a North East structure plan, we're waiting on whether or not we're having a stadium or not. And I guess I would have the view that I prefer to see us crack on, and we can always you know, we can always come back in a year's time and go, okay, well, we cracked on and we, in good faith, thought this was going to happen, that's changed, and adjust accordingly. But if we don't do anything, we just want to mistake the flux forever. So that'd be my feedback. But otherwise, I was going to say to the officers, thank you. It does look like everything is ticking along really nicely. CEO, as I said, the only 2 items on here that are on hold because they're outside our control, and the rest of it is largely on track, which is a sign of a really well-functioning organisation. So kudos to all the directors and the CEO and all the staff involved. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Posso. Next question is from Councillor Dutton.
Thank you. Just one more final observation I'm making. With regards to 2.1.1, the country, culture and people action, is it my understanding and I interpret correctly that there will be a final submission this council meeting on the 28th? Because there was some suggestion made with regards to consultation and that has not going to go ahead. Is that correct?
Look, so we had agenda review today. It's on the agenda at the moment. We're having active conversations as the executive around what to do in that space relative to the council's feedback. So I can't really answer that right now,
okay.
But we will do.
Thank you.
Councillor Lohberger.
Thank you, Chair. Just to clarify that Mount Nelson, Sandy Bay neighbourhood plan, there is a response on the upcoming planning meeting just saying that that is likely to come to us in September to the council. Is that still correct?
It's a conversation that I need to have with the CEO. We can certainly give an update in September. We can certainly give an options paper maybe September, October, if that's the way we decide to go. But we were hoping to get a final resolution one way or the other from the state government, or the former state government, on its position.
Okay, so wait and see.
Wait and see.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Lord Mayor.
Oh, look, I was just going to make a comment that I thought it does feel a bit like we'd just be putting out something into an uncertain environment if it's not resolved, and that is in some ways the biggest site in the whole area that, you know, things might change or might not change. So I sort of think it's probably better to, like, I guess I'm disagreeing with Councillor Posselt that it, you know, I think there's no point us pursuing it until there's a little bit more understanding of that, and it seems the state government has the major control over that site, really, don't they? It's their kind of call on it, or they've made it their call.
They certainly have, through your chair, they certainly have made it their call. And that was certainly the officer's view, and that's why, but ultimately, if there's no resolution, we've got to move on at some stage. And our officer's view was, we'll give it till Christmas. If it doesn't get resolved, we bring a discussions paper forward at that time. Okay. If you want to bring it earlier, then we're certainly capable of doing so.
Councillor Posse.
So just follow on that, I guess my view on that, and I'd be keen to hear CEO Director's thoughts, is that if we've got a new parliament, don't know who's in power, but if we've got a document that paints a future for that campus with STEM saying there, which is the council's position or the university's position, then it kind of can work in reverse that we guide the parliament as to their decisions, because we've got this very well documented plan that has gone to consultation with the community and says, this is what the community thinks of the site, this is what the university thinks of the site, this is what council thinks of the site. Whereas if we wait for the parliament to make their decision, all of that work could fall by the wayside, because they might make a decision that's unilateral or doesn't have all the information, as that parliament often does. Contrary to the Mayor, I really generally say bring it because we can lead this one, I think.
Thank you, Alderman Bloom.
I would be really concerned if we try and jump the gun, because we're talking about elements which make this can get very expensive. Very expensive. We're going to put staff resources into something that could be thrown out the window because Parliament has changed their mind or have given a different view to what we have assumed. I prefer what Director Noy has supplied, which is that we wait till Christmas, which gives them every opportunity to do the right thing and provide guidance and ideas, because I don't like the idea of spending the money twice. I much prefer to spend the money once and get it right. It's not like they don't have the guidance from us. It's not like all the other parts of the community have not spoken. They know exactly what needs to be done and where they fit into the plans. So it's more or less that I think we simply have to be patient.
CEO, did you have any further comments to make on that?
Yeah, look, thanks, Chair. I think I will take it on notice. I hear the different positions on it. Again, I understood that the discussion paper was going to sort of be a bit scenarios based, so we'll have a look at it and see whether there's a middle ground. But if I take that briefing, we'll come back to council.
Thank you, CEO. So if there's no further questions or discussion on the matter, I'll put the motion. So all those in favour? Against? Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 6.2 is the Elizabeth Mall booth. So I'd like to invite the member to move the motion. Thank you, Councillor Lohberger. And also invite the Manager City Welcome and the Director Community and Economic Development to introduce the item. Ben.
Thank you, Chair. Excuse me. Good afternoon, elected members. Item 6.2 seeks an approval from the Council to commence a two-stage express of interest process to secure an independent organisation to operate within the Elizabeth Street Mall booth. The recommendations also outline some of the other arrangements that will be put in place until that EOI process is concluded, in terms of maintaining the current use of the booth until the time that process is completed. And should the EOI be unsuccessful and we can't identify a suitable organisation, that a further report will be returned to Council that would outline how the booth and the costs associated with decommissioning the booth. But we hope we'll get through the EOI process, and we're a little bit confident that we may be able to secure an independent organisation to occupy it. I'll take the report as read, but I guess just as a little bit of way of background, up until February 2024, it was an outpost for the TTIC. Following a workplace health and safety incident around that time, staff pulled out of there from working there on a daily basis. And then in May that year, Council resolved to receive tonight's report that examined the options and the feasibility of attracting a commercial enterprise or other user to use the building. So staff have gone away, have looked at 6 different options for the booth, ranging from purposing it as a TTIC outpost, a digital hub to do promotions, a safety watch facility, and other options. But option 5, which we are recommending forward, is going forward with the EOI process to find an independent external organisation to occupy it over time. So if we weren't successful, we would come back to, either way, would come back to Council with a report outlining the outcomes of the EOI if it's successful, and if it's unsuccessful, the decommissioning strategy that would be put in place. And that's really it, Chair. Is there any other questions?
Thank you. Was there any discussion or questions? A question from Councillor Lohberger.
Thank you, Chair. I guess it's not really a question for the staff, but more a comment, Chair. I'm just really disappointed about option number 3, which I would have thought is by far the best use of this particular building. That is that taking on the police operating as some sort of a safety and advice hub, and I know that they've given written and verbal advice that they don't want to do that, which I just wanted to make a point. I think that's very disappointing. I thought that would have been the best use of that particular building. The next best use is what the council officers are recommending, which is that we go out and try and find someone else, a particular community organisation that might want to use it. But again, I'm just really disappointed. Half a block up the road, there's all these problems with shoplifting around the Northern bus stop. We've got the bank arcade virtually right next door. We've got issues with public safety, and I would have thought it would have been great to have a police presence in that building. That's the Chair. Thank you.
Alderman Bloomfield.
Okay. I'll just put a little bit of flavour to some of this. One of the reasons why the police were so adamant not to do it was because they said 95% of their work was actually simply giving directions, which is pretty much what the TTCI was doing originally. But also to having dealt with the Hobart Safety Alliance, but actually before that with the retail safety group as well, there were issues throughout small business in that area. There was there used to be a flower barrow there. A lady used to sell flowers there. She had significant issues. So I think the more populous we have this area, the better it will be. So I actually am very grateful to see that there'll be a recommendation to look at other businesses starting to kind of take some ownership of the area, because I think the more we do that, the more likely we'll have a safer area overall. I know too that we've already had some quite interest already from some groups and so forth, so I know that there's definite interest, and this stops it from being something that's simply an asset that we need to pay to either demolish or keep or whatever, and we could actually make it into a income generating asset, which will be brilliant. So I do hope, and I understand that the development of it will be a little bit fraught until it's actually established and we have some good ground rules, but to put it out to market is a brilliant idea in my view. And the police themselves have said that they'd rather have people on the ground out there active and so forth, because even if they did have shoplifting, they did have an event, they have to literally leave the booth to go and deal with it, which is kind of counterintuitive to what the booth was designed to be. So I tend to think that what we're proposing here is very intelligent and should actually, I hope, give a very good outcome.
Thank you. Councillor Elliott, did you have something to say?
Thank you. When will we have an idea of what the market valuation is? I understand it's happening at the moment.
Yeah, we've commissioned one and it's expected at the end of the month to know the valuation.
Right,
and the report will be completed.
And in terms of the EOI parameters, I guess you could say, in terms of who might be eligible, is that going to be really quite broad?
Yeah, it'll be open to not-for-profit and basically all organisations, but there'll be criteria around purpose-driven, community-driven, ideals, things that are aligned with the council's values and pillars. But essentially it'll be the two-stage process. Will ask for ideas to come forward, and then they'll be shortlisted into a second process where they'll be invited to put more detailed submissions in. But depending on what we get out of that process, it'll be left open to the market really to direct that.
Mm-hmm. So you said about community-driven, but retail wouldn't be discouraged?
Correct.
Yeah. And could we have something in there, because what we're trying to avoid is if the rent comes in, the market price is quite low, and the not-for-profit or who it is has the funds to meet that. I would hate for it to be the case where it doesn't actually end up being staffed or active and it's still dead. So in the EOI, I think it should be captured somewhere, and definitely in the selection process, prioritising that there would be core hours where it is actually staffed and active. So I would hate for it to be, only Monday to Friday for a few hours in the first few months and then it peters off. And that we have the ability to end a contract if it isn't active and being used, because like Alderman Bloomfield said, that's partly one of the key points. I'm really excited to see this finally here, but I do wonder, why has it taken a year? Because I brought this motion over a year ago, and it just troubles me that it's been sitting there doing nothing for over a year, and also particularly I find it embarrassing because it's still got the signage around the front of it saying buy your tickets here, and it just reflects really badly. Why has it taken so long?
There was a fair bit of work to do in analysing those options, but it has taken a long period of time to complete. But a lot of the due diligence we had to do internally had to be covered off, and there was some changes that went on. So it's just taken a long time.
Just with that feedback on the table, I think that's it's inexcusable, really. 14 months just sitting there, and there was even longer prior to the motion. I won't move to recommend a change, an amendment, but I will also ask, just what I said before about their signage on the building itself, inviting people to come up to the building to purchase tickets. That should immediately be addressed, just in terms of how poorly it reflects. But yeah, all in all, I agree with the recommendation of the option. I was also wondering about the safety issue, but now giving directions makes complete sense, and police staffing and things like that. Maybe as a balance, I know we've got the digital signage and things like that, but maybe when we're looking at the future state of it, we could put in some of those public safety messages more prominently, you know, even if it is Tasmania Police and the 131444 number, you know, to report issues or something like that, so we can have some visible signage, at least so people know that, yeah, we can just have it more in people's face that there's actions you can do, there's safety issues around there, because there's definitely scope for that to happen. But yeah, no, I'm excited to see work happening on it, and it'll be great. Oh yeah, so with the EOI, how will that be advertised, and will it be listed as on the realestate.com as a potential commercial site, just to maximise the audience?
It'll be advertised publicly through the normal processes. I'm just not sure whether we go on realestate.com. I think we just do it through council tender
I just
panel.
worry about typical people maybe missing out on learning about it, and if we could go to realestate.com for commercial sites, I think that would be a good idea.
We can certainly have a look at it. I mean, we have our standard approach, which this would follow, but we can certainly have a look at that.
Yeah, just thinking if we can get small business people. Thank you.
Councillor Harvey.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Alderman Bloomfield, I think you're right there about the police using the space. It'd be a complete waste of officers' time, I think, sitting around answering questions of where various shops are and all the rest of it. So I think you're right there. I think option 5 is the best option. Could I also ask that we consider the public benefit of whoever gets this? That it might be it might outprice certain organisations that might provide more public benefit than a commercial retailer. So can that be factored into the selection criteria as well?
Yep.
So that we don't end up with something that's selling stuff that doesn't provide any public benefit at all because it's a public space owned by the council.
Thanks, Councillor Harvey. Was there anyone else? I'd just like to echo a couple of those points there. Firstly, the one taking so long to get that tidied up with the mall. It's front and centre of part of our social and economic, the heart of Hobart, and to have old signage there like that for such a long period of time, I think we can do better than that. Also had a question, private security, is that, we pay for that in the mall there?
We have some contracts for through that. Yeah.
Through our contract arrangement, we have limited, yeah.
Mm.
So this got raised actually at the Safety Alliance meeting last month rather, that there may be different options for us to have a look at our spend around private security and whether there's other opportunities for that spend to be directed elsewhere, as you've seen that happen in Melbourne, City of Melbourne recently, and also some examples in New Zealand where there's community safety officers employed as opposed to security staff. So again, that's something we undertook to have a look at under Alderman Bloomfield's the meeting last month, wasn't it? So.
Okay. Thank you. So there are no further questions or debate about it. So I would now put the motion. So all those in favour? Against? I declare the motion carried unanimously. Thank you for that report, Ben. We're now going to move into items for workshopping. So, just to remind everyone that no decisions will be made in the workshop. It's more for discussion. So, no motion is required to discuss workshop items. So, 7.1 City for All Implementation Framework. So, we have Kimber Parker here today. Thank you, Kimber.
Thanks, Chair. So tonight we're presenting to you the City for All Implementation Framework. So this document supports the delivery of the City for All Community Inclusion and Equity Framework. So basically the framework is the overarching document, and we're not suggesting tonight that change. It's the implementation that sits underneath that document. So each of the priority area implementation plans within the document are replacing the previously separate community-specific commitments and strategies that the City of Hobart has had in place for many years. This has reduced the number of commitments and strategies that we currently have from 7 down to a single document. So we'll be replacing the equal access commitment, positive ageing, youth, multicultural, community safety, LGBTIQA+, affordable housing and homelessness commitments. So the priority areas within the new document will respond to those priority areas still, but they won't be separate commitments. So the actions within each of the implementation plans have been developed in consultation with the following City of Hobart reference groups and committees. The Equal Access Committee, Hobart Old Persons Reference Group, the Housing with Dignity Reference Group, the Greater Hobart Homeless Alliance, LGBTIQA+ Reference Group, the Networking for Harmony Multicultural Advisory Group, Youth Advisory Squad, the YAP, Youth Action Priorities, the Hobart Retailer Safety Group, the Late Night Precinct Stakeholders, and the Youth Diversionary Alliance. So it's been through all of those groups over the last 12 months. Consultation was also undertaken with relevant sectors and area specialists, with specific focus group engagement being undertaken by the relevant staff. The action plan now includes a time frame and a measurement, with implementation of each action being reported to the relevant reference group by community program staff. There will also be an annual outcome report put publicly on the City of Hobart's website. In this way, each implementation plan can be considered a work plan for each of the reference groups, as well as a work plan for the relevant community program staff. The team are also undertaking a body of work on evaluation of community programs using a qualitative approach. That will sit alongside this document. It's noted that there is an additional plan included called Community Program Group Actions. So this includes actions that sit outside of specific priority areas. So they include actions relating to community resilience, recovery, volunteer management, Hobart Respects All, community halls and the Children's Mayor program. It should also be noted that what was previously the housing and homelessness commitment has now been separated into 2 distinct areas. So homelessness actions have been included in this document, the framework, and there will be a new housing document that is being developed by the Place Design Sport and Recreation Group currently. All the actions included have been developed with consideration of budget allocations. They are to be delivered within the existing budget parameters. It is noted that many of the actions include advocacy, collaboration, promotion and support for other agencies. They are not all to be delivered entirely by the City of the Hobart. Many of the actions cover ongoing operational deliverables, which combine with new initiatives to respond to emerging issues and priorities identified through the engagement process.
Thank you. Was there any questions you'd like to direct or in conversation regarding this item? Lord Mayor.
Yeah, just a couple of thanks for the work. It's really good. But I just also wanted to ask about the multicultural space and the Welcoming Cities initiative, national program, whether we are planning to sort of go deeper into their kind of framework. I think they have an accreditation and ideas about how to become even...
Yes, so we're at the first level. There is the intent to go to try and achieve the second accreditation of that. And another thing that we're currently looking at is their conference as to whether it would be appropriate to hold that in Hobart going forward.
Oh, okay. Sorry, and is that in here or not? Is that
yes, it does mention that.
Yes,
yes, it does.
I haven't looked at it closely enough. And have we sort of advanced, because one of my long-standing views is that when it comes to the multicultural space, it just feels like we should be working as a Greater Hobart group, because the communities, of Hobart live in various parts of Greater Hobart, and I just worry that we've still all got separate offices and separate advisory groups, and we don't necessarily coordinate on grants for events, and it just sort of, has there been any progress towards that?
So with the Networking for Harmony, representatives from the other councils do participate in that group.
Yeah.
So many of the other councils don't actually run their own reference groups, but they certainly are active members within Networking for Harmony. So that tends to have a greater Hobart focus rather than just a Hobart focus. And the team have also been very actively involved with the racism campaign that's been led by Brighton but does involve all other Greater Hobart councils. So our team's been actively involved in that campaign as well. So there was the initial launch and there's some work being done where that's about to be kind of value added with bus signage and signage through our car parks. There's a campaign just about to kick off to kind of value add to that.
I'm just wondering whether we could sort of formalise that, what's that sort of thing that seems to be happening, but could we actually kind of make it like, let's do an MOU with all the councils that Networking for Harmony is owned by all the councils, and maybe we even rotate it around, and it's, you know, because in a year's time someone else could come into Clarence and decide, oh, I'm going to set up a multicultural Networking for Harmony group, and then we just sort of, but if we kind of formalise it rather than it just being something that's emerged, and actually say, well, this is the Greater Hobart, you know, Networking for Harmony organised committee, and then and give it a little bit of responsibility to some of the other councils to.
Yeah, we can certainly look at that.
I don't know whether others agree, but it just sort of feels like makes sense to me.
Alderman Bloomfield?
I quite like what's been put together. I think it's a great idea. There's just so much here though, and I'm just wondering how the information's going to flow. And this is not anything derogatory at all. I'm just kind of looking at it going, how is this all going to come to play? Because, like for instance, with the city economy, I regularly meet with director and managers and talk about what's going on, and I have no doubt that Councillor Posselt will do something very similar with the Transport Committee and so forth. I actually wonder whether or not this might not be exactly the same as what we already have with the city economy and transport, but I almost wonder if this is something that perhaps there could be an elected member who could be a point of reference for this, so that they could go and get some of the updates and then kind of help report back. So, I don't know, look, it's just an idea, it doesn't have to be, but it just feels like that's what should happen. Because I'm looking at this going, geez, how are we going to get all these reports? Some of them are annually, some of them are ongoing, some of them are quarterly. And I feel like there's a lot of moving parts, and I just feel like it'd be nice to tie them in somehow. And I appreciate that the two committees, when I'm referring to, actually have a committee of independent people from outside, but in a weird kind of way, so does this. But it's just an idea to think about it, whether or not that would help a little, or would it just be another layer of bureaucracy? It would be difficult. I don't know. It just feels like that's what it looks like to me. That's all.
Thank you. So we did actually have the Welcoming Inclusive portfolio that did oversee that. But we also do report into the Place and Wellbeing Committee. So a lot of the work that's done in this arena responds to wellbeing. So we have presented to that group, and the intent would be we'd keep reporting up to that portfolio as we go forward as well.
Okay, so in a way there is actually a committee that's going to pretty much be able to take a little bit more of a lead with the data transfer.
We can formalise that a little bit more in the documents, so that's clear.
As a reporting mechanism.
Councillor Dutta.
Just two questions. One is with regards to the reference group, how effective it is.
So which particular...
These reference group we have, there are a number of them.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering how effective it is.
Through Chair, the majority of the groups are very effective. We've had some of the groups that have been operating for over 20 years. And I think there's a few elected members around the table that attend those groups. Some are more sector groups, such as the Greater Hobart Housing Alliance is more a reference group than the lived experience group. Some, such as the Housing with Dignity group, due to the nature, is probably not as effective as the moment. We're trying to get new members to that group. It does tend to ebb and flow a bit, which is we always knew that with the nature of that group. But the vast majority are working really well. Networking for Harmony at the moment, we have a few issues we're working through with that group, but we certainly monitor them very closely, and where we need to adjust terms of reference or go out and get new members, we make sure that we do that. For example, the Hobart Older Persons Reference Group has 20 older people that have been involved for many years. We have a lot of new members coming through with new ideas in that as well.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, it can be, we are involved, but just being involved and having all these things really, I'm just questioning, is it working effectively for us at all? The other question that I have here is with regards to advocating for support community messaging about racism. How is the advocacy role performed by the city, and how do we continue to promote this?
So the last couple of things that we have done would be the event we had in March. So each year we do an event. It was previously the Harmony event, which we've now converted back to a racism focus event. So we delivered the event this year at the waterfront with the panel session and the walk. The other piece of work we're doing in the racism space is what I mentioned previously, which is with the campaign that we're doing with Greater Hobart and Brighton Council. So that's another piece of advocacy that we're doing in that space. The other work that we do is in with the Anti-Discrimination Commissioner in terms of some of the programs that they're delivering. So they're very active as they're working for Harmony, and we're involved with delivering some training that they're doing.
So my follow-up comment, I'm thinking aloud. Now, is it something we just want to be seen to be involved, or are we really making an impact? That's my question. That's all. Yeah, because sometimes, we're seen to be involved in these things, and the Harmony, we do it for a week and it's gone, but, Harmony is not like that. It's a different ball game. It's a continuous thing that we can deliver, that's all. So.
Certainly, and hopefully, Councillor Dudder, when we're doing the work on the evaluation, we can do some further metrics to determine the outcome from those campaigns.
Thank you.
Kimber, how's the late night presence down at Salamanca and that going? Just out of interest.
So we're getting very good feedback still from it. So that group has changed in formation, as in that it's included in the Safer Hobart Alliance, but operationally the service providers still meet regularly to determine what they're seeing of the night. Friday night is still a lot quieter than what we're seeing on a Saturday night. So we still have the security that are present Friday and Saturday night, and at the toilet facility in Salamanca Square. The street teams operate both nights, however they are struggling with volunteers, so they tend to focus on the Saturday night if they don't have enough volunteers. And we do have St John's Ambulance that are present there. So each of those agencies provide us with a report every couple of months that we share, and also Tas Police are on that group as well. We continue to see behaviour down at the waterfront. Obviously, each of the committees are reporting back on what they're seeing, but the actual alliance that works down there are working very well together.
And it's been effective over these years.
Certainly, yes. So yes, there's some very good data that's come out from that.
So to Mike's point about having a continuity, I think that's a great example of a program that the council has initiated. It's been effective over many years.
Yes, it has.
And some of these other ones that Councillor Dudder spoke to about, it happens for a week, and then you've got to wait another year to see it again.
Yeah.
Whereas this one is a program.
Ongoing weekly activity, yes.
So I understand what you're saying, Councillor Dudder. How can you make these things happen all the time? They become, like, it's not just dry July, every day is dry. Or whatever the weekly thing is becomes a standard way of operating. It's a lifetime opportunity, so to speak, rather than a weekly opportunity. One week a year. Anyway, just a comment, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any Alderman Zuko?
The comment made, are we really seriously? Just want to reconfirm is the estimated budget cost for this whole program for 2025-26, just under $2 million,
That's correct, yes.
and then it's going to increase to 2.1 in 2028. So we must be seriously involved here. Okay, thank you.
No further questions. Councillor Elliott.
Thank you. One thing that seemed to maybe stick out was around the inclusion of emergency planning type stuff. It just seems a bit more left of centre in here. And correct me if I'm wrong, you said this has been through a year-long process through all different groups, this implementation plan?
Yes.
Right, so I obviously won't change it given it's taken a year, but it just feels a bit like, I can understand the logic, like it's in there because we care about vulnerable people and make sure that, you know, bushfire and things like that, but it's, I think, maybe just stretching a bit of a long bow, in my opinion, because we could put all sorts of safety things in if that was the sort of interpretation. But I also noticed on page 7 of the actual document of the new one, where it has the priority areas, it has truth and reconciliation there, but the new Aboriginal strategy document, that's still standalone, isn't it? That's not being incorporated into this.
That's certainly a standalone document. However, through the overarching document, truth and reconciliation is
in there.
Yes.
And so in this implementation plan, does it capture that the Aboriginal stuff is standalone?
In the table, the general community programs, it refers to that document will be delivered, but it's only at a high level.
Okay. And is the inclusion of reconciliation there still accurate? Because I thought there was discussion at the last, when we spoke about the Aboriginal strategy, that it's not about reconciliation now.
So reconciliation is a word that was used when the document was created,
yes,
back in 2020. However, certainly the narrative we hear is that reconciliation isn't the stronger word to be used now.
Right.
It's not that it's not to be used at all, but it's not a strong word that the community is seeking to have used.
I guess if you reconcile, there's not much money left to take, so that makes sense. So it makes sense to avoid reconciliation if you profit from it. The other thing is that I would have thought that the venue hire policy could be a good thing to include if it gets approved by council, because that's actually, obviously the implementation plan and the framework itself is very light on, or actually non-existent in terms of inclusion around diversity of political belief, whereas I'm not sure if you were here for the venue hire discussion or not. But if that policy gets approved, that could be a good news story, could be one of the actions. If it is that, you know, the council can publicly say that its venues are available to people who have a different political belief than that held by the council or some elected members. I think it says, I saw a reference to community hall or something in here, but I think the more accurate one might be venue hire. Are we talking about the same sort of thing when we talk about community hall? Is that
no, we're not considering it. We're talking about the community halls that the city owns as assets that are managed by the community, such as the Land Valley Community Hall,
right,
and that aren't actually part of that venue policy.
Right. Well, maybe it might be an additional thing, the promotion of the venue hire policy, in terms of, because that is a big change in custom and practice for the council and a positive news story. So what happens next with this? It comes to council for approval.
The next step would be go out for community engagement and then back to council for approval.
Okay, thank you.
No further conversation or questions. Thanks very much, Ms. Parker, for that presentation. Item 7.2, as previously advised, the Stormwater and Waterways briefing has been removed from tonight's agenda. So we go on to 7.3, Park My Ride, Hobart's parking availability app presentation, and invite the manager, city services and director of strategic and regular services to present and introduce the item. Thank you.
Yeah, look, I'll just quickly introduce this as part of Council's endorsed parking curbside management plan. One of the key deliverables out of that action plan was to provide real-time information for those accessing the city around parking availability. And we've been working, Dan and his team have been working with corporate services and also our parking team to develop a real-time app to provide people accessing the city by private vehicles with live car parking information. So the intent is to enable those people who wish to access the city to gain access to car parking availability, hopefully reducing the congestion within the city because people will know exactly where those car parking spaces are and to provide a better service for those people. So I'll hand over to Dan, who will take you through what it looks like and its functionality.
Thank you, Neil. Yeah, so as Neil described, we'll go through a few things. So one's sort of why are we doing this, what have we done, what does it look like, and what do we do from there. So really quickly, as Neil described, Action 17 of the Parking Curbside Management Plan was endorsed by Council last July, is to provide people with that information. We know, as Neil described, when people know where they're going to park, it reduces that anxiety, it reduces the congestion, because you get less sort of circling of our beautiful one-way street system, so giving that information as easily and as clear as possible is really beneficial. So yeah, again, we've been working really closely together, so really I do want to shout out all the officers within the organisation. It's been a really good collaborative effort too, so it's been good. Park My Ride is what it's called. So it's an app to provide real-time data refreshed every 15 seconds. So it's pretty regular. We're pretty excited about that. The important thing is it reaches all the way up to North Hobart, through the CBD and down into Salamanca as well. It's all 2,107 censored parking bays across the city.
How many parking bays?
2,107 censored parking bays.
So some of that's off-street. And
so in addition to that 2,107, we've got 3 major off-street car parks as well as car places as well.
Are they on the app as well?
They are on the app as well. Yeah. So as you see down the bottom, live feeds from our city's off-street car parks as well. So I'll go through that when I show you the live demonstration. The app will be on our website, so it'll be hosted by us on our website. You'll be able to download it off our website, so we'll make sure we point people to have really clear instructions as to how you can do that. Because the predominant way people access this is on your phone, on your device. So making sure that people can access that clearly onto their device is important. The other thing that's really important, before I get asked, is we want to make it absolutely clear you can't use this while you're driving. Right? So we've got all the legal disclaimers and things in the app to make sure that's really clear to people. And I'll show you when I show the live demo, there is a way of linking directions into where you want to go into Google Maps and things like that. So if you do have the beauty of your car systems that can do that, you can do some of that sort of linkage as well. So that's a really important piece. So, what does it look like? Park My Ride. So that's the branding, sort of sits really nice and light and in line with our transport themes. So we really like the colouring, really like the way it looks. It's a nice little app icon. When we sort of push it out, this is the sort of messaging we can look to push to the punters. So less driving, more parking, less circling around, more next street, there to go. Again, that sort of blue and white and cyan in line with our transport themes. This is probably the key one that I really want to show, because this is what it'll look like on your phone with the demonstration I'll show you shortly. That's very much desktop demonstrations on your computer, whereas this is what it will look like on your phone. So when you go into it, you'll open it up, have the disclaimer, then you'll get a view like the one on the left, and it'll show you in blobs where the parks are in a sort of a block sort of segment. Now, the further you zoom in, the more it will show it gets close to the block. So the zoom right out, it shows sort of gets everything in that sort of area. But the closer you zoom in, you then get to sort of block level, street block level, and then down to the individual parking bays. The app does allow you to zoom into down onto the individual parking bays, so you can actually drill down to that. Because importantly, as you can see on the middle one, although that's talking for the car park as a whole, but it does do that to individual parking bays. It does show you what type it is, how long you can stay, how much it's going to cost, what the hours of operation is, and directions on how to get there. So we try to be reasonably comprehensive in the information we provide. Other real benefit of this too is it allows you to filter down what you want. If you actually don't like parking in an off-street car park, just want to go on the street, it allows you to then cycle out the off-street car parks and go straight to parking bays. Conversely, if you really like to go in off-street car parks and want to see how they're looking, you can go straight to those as well.
Is that the number of vacant parks or the total?
It's the number of vacant parks at that moment, refreshed every 15 seconds. It's of the 2,107 plus the off-street car parking, so a total of around 4,000 is the total stock. How much is available at that given moment?
And Dan, you can filter obviously accessible parking as
Correct,
well.
yeah, that's going to be my next point. So really importantly, yeah, so accessible parking.
Come on, shut up.
Sorry, I might have forgotten it too. Yeah, it's really important that we obviously give that clarity to those that need accessible parking bays, and we've got really good granularity around
Does it
those.
highlight disabled ones as well?
That's the one, yes, that's the accessible parking bays, disability accessible parking bays. Yep, absolutely. So,
sorry, Alderman Bloomfield, did you have a question?
Yeah, looks a lot like the Uber, not Uber, the e-scooter type system, you know, where you could see where the e-scooters were available, so you could kind of like literally run there and grab one.
Yep.
But equally too, I think you could actually book them in that system. Are we able to somewhat tentatively book them, or you can't, can you? You're having to hope that by the time you get there, that might be there.
Definitely not at the moment, definitely with these systems that we've got in place now. It's the obvious, and it's probably a really good question, is I'm looking at home, I'm 10 minutes away, I've got to drive in the city, I look to the parking bay, it's available, I get there, it's not available. What's the obvious? We did there are different ways you can do it based on analytics and future, and at 10 o'clock on a Wednesday, or how many parks are likely to be available or not. We thought, we started sort of looking into that, and we thought, no, the whole point of this is transparency around what is. So this is our data that we have on the ground now.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really important, really powerful message we can send to the community.
And is there, so you've got your park, you're in there.
Yep.
Does this app also take the money?
No.
You don't have that
Purely
seamlessness?
availability app.
Yeah, okay.
So again, we did look at integration with Easy Park, so that's
that would be great if we could get that far.
I think that the next stages are sort of working through, and I know some of the work that their sort of teams are looking into, so sort of looking into that, so I should have some more to say on that into the future, but for now it is a parking availability app.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
I guess on a related question, Dan, just to do with integration with, say, the existing, you get a taxi with the existing GPS systems that talk to the drivers.
Yep.
Is it possible that they can snap on those kind of, or is that into those kind of applications?
Certainly into Google Maps, yes. So what we've done is we've heavily looked into Google Maps.
Okay. Yep.
But it's only once you sort of, and I'll show you in a second. So sorry, I'm holding this to the end. You do click on your spot, you then get up your directions, and it will, if your car system has that integration, which it might do, you can then take you right up to that park space. Yeah. It won't tell you if it's now gone, because obviously at the moment when you selected it, it was available, and if it's a 10-minute journey, it may be gone, but yes, it certainly will take you to that spot. Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks, Dan. I really like this. It was a really good asset for the city to have, so thank you to everyone who's put all this thought into it. I'm wondering what cross-promotional opportunities we have in the transport world with this app. So for example, I'm thinking Christmas shopping, like when everything's showing up as full, can we also promote that the shuttle bus is running from external car parks outside of the city as well that will come up on the screen, sort of?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, certainly we've started those conversations. So this week we've got meetings with both around the ferries for Christmas
Yeah,
and
great.
also the park and ride up at there for Christmas as well.
Yeah,
Starting those
excellent.
conversations.
Great.
I understand it's a great concept for our car parks and right across the city, which is very good. We're not the only car park provider. There are commercial car park providers. Have we thought about sitting down and having discussions and negotiations with the private car park providers so we can incorporate all parking across the city?
Certainly got some scope. Yeah, we're certainly having conversations around things like tech, so I know those conversations are going on. Not for this, obviously we want to sort of just test our sort of space first, but that has some merit.
Well, there's only one app available for car parking across the city. We could be going into a commercial business deal with the providers, and there's one app for the whole of the city, and people can decide whether they want to go to the council car park, off-street parking, and other car parks. That way there you cover the whole city.
The key for this is this started out as an on-street, so just to sort of close the loop. Because obviously we're the only operator of on-street car parking in the city, that was our sort of exclusive use. But you're right, we have picked up the off-streets, and why not pick up even more of the private off-streets?
We can certainly have that if they can provide that data to us.
On the same sort of vein as Alderman Zuko, at bare minimum, I think with the car park owners' consent, we would have something static, you know, like marketplace, not with a number, but just, and have it maybe colour coded differently so that it's recognised as not being council, but marketplace car park unknown or question mark or whatever, as an interim measure. But also I was wondering, it's surprising that private sector hasn't thought of this product. I know that you're working with 3 double T or something, and this has been developed especially for us, and obviously custom built software can often be expensive. I was just wondering what sort of ballpark cost have we invested in it? And I like it, obviously it's good, but I was wondering how much does it cost?
It's approximately 20,000.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so not too bad.
And then, I mean, so the system that they've built, obviously don't want to get too technical, but the main data inputs are obviously mapping, and then the sensors we have, whether they're occupied or not.
That's right.
Is this app or this software, is it transferable? Could we at some point offer it to another, like license it to another council, or is it subject only to those particular sensors? Or is it a coding thing where, you know, let's say Launceston has sensors, I don't even know if it does, but if another council has sensors, is this not something we could package up? And
I mean, I don't know what the IP side of things, we'd have to look into that, what sort of branding we've made with 3TT and the branding certainly ours, I think, so they're confident that's...
Well, I would hope that we own the IP.
I would have thought we would.
Yeah.
I thought so too.
But it could, I mean, because this is a no-brainer, but yeah, I've seen this happen before where internal places build their own software and then end up making more money from actually selling the software.
For sure.
And maybe if we've got that in the back of our minds, we should start looking and making sure that all of the negotiations make sure we are owning it.
All right, good point.
Yeah, no, we'll look into that. But yeah, we're pretty proud of it, so obviously the process, we'll see how it actually goes live.
And one final thing, I know that the sensors have been replaced in the last however many months, and it costs like $1 million to do that or something. They're all working fine?
Yeah, so we're pretty confident. So the main issue, so between 95 and 98% accuracy. The main inaccuracies happen where they're parallel parking. So side to side, not most of that, which is very few of our sensor parking, so it gives us a high degree of confidence.
Oh, okay.
And fortunate piece with this sort of app is it will tell you the space is occupied more than the other way around. It's not like you rock up and it's saying
that's true.
It's available. So your bias is the right way, it's the correct way.
Because I was just wondering, you know, like with Salamanca and Leeds on sensors, but that makes sense. It's more likely to show as taken rather than the other, which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing.
Okay.
It's the worst case scenario.
We just have the presentation and we might
sorry.
ask some more questions after. Is that okay? Can we just hold that one, please?
That's all right. I'll try and see if this works. You might have to hit escape on the preso. Oh no, it
It's-
works.
it's,
There we go. Here's the disclaimer, so make sure you know, don't drive.
yeah.
So just mind the colours, because we're still working through these colours in the final version, but you can see that on the left-hand side there. You can cycle through. You can also even sort of, if you type in a location, Elizabeth Street or Liverpool Street, it will take you to only those sort of spaces. You can also cycle through the various options. So if you just want to go to the off-street car parks, it shows you all of those. Right, and then you say, no, I don't, I just want to be on the street, it shows you those. And similarly, if you just want a DD accessible bay, it shows you where all those are as well.
Have you coded in the things like Salamanca Market will take out all the parks? And
Yes.
So that's
Yeah.
all been done as well?
Correct,
Cool.
yeah, so working through those final.
And that's not hard to do, because there'll often be things like the Twilight Market, which takes out the ports. And is the ports area included?
So it's only places where we've got sensors and we own the sensors.
Oh,
so
okay.
no, yeah.
So that part down there is not?
Yeah, there's some exceptions to that, which you can see out here on Hunter Street. But we own that side of the road. We don't own this side of the road. So that's a red road on that side, not on this side, apart from the parking side of things.
Is domain parking on sensors? Is there sensors on the domain parking?
Up there, no. So you can see, so it's limited to our what we've got sensors, what we can control. So it does have limitations, but obviously it gives you a pretty good sort of, where we've got sensors and where we've got that high control of our parking is in the high demand areas where the supply, the demand of it's sort of, at its highest relative to its supply. So if you want to go park at the domain, there's parking in the domain all the time. Everywhere.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure whether we had sensors there and whether it was it is. That's good.
So, yeah, let's go finish the...
Yeah, so just to close the loop, you can sort of zoom right out, shows you all the spaces all across Hobart. As you zoom in, it sort of hones in on the different locations. So if you're saying, well, I want to go up to Midtown, I'm particularly interested in Elizabeth Street, you can sort of hone in on whereabouts you want to go, and it sort of shows you blocks. So if it was me and I was really keen to go get my hair cut up at Monkston Cove, or get my hair cut, I was going, well, that's a pretty good chance at 9-10 spaces right now. I'm probably going to go have a look at parking there, as opposed to zooming right in on the individual bays, which you can do, and say, I'm really keen to park right outside the front of my, where's my address? It's right here, I think. I need to go there to get my hair cut. I'm going to click on there, get directions, and go from there.
Pick up a sewing machine.
So there's your route that you can put into Google Maps if you want.
Yeah, so that's how it does that. Then, obviously if it's on your phone, you put pictures through a phone. Well, when your phone's connected to your car, that will then come up on your car, and away you go. So it's quite helpful. But again, what we're trying to do is put that information in the user's hands too. What level of specificity do you want? Do you want general? I'm pretty keen to get to this block where there's 20 spaces, or I want to park right up in front of my hairdresser, I'm going to park there. The challenge with that is it should be obviously like it used to be where, well, that space may or may not be available by the time.
Have you got something where you can measure the benefit this has created? Like the level of parking frustration has decreased, the doing the blockies, all that sort of stuff, just to, so we can say, well, this has created less anxiety, parking anxiety in the city.
Yeah.
People are doing less blockies to try and park out the front.
We're working through that at the moment. It's a good point. It's how you measure success from something like this. I think, we're going to obviously look at downloads, how many people go to the site, look at this site. That's obviously a key piece. We can measure things like, movements in and around the city. It's a challenging one. The other thing we've been looking at is things like surveys, testing, what you like about it, is anything, because obviously we want to continually improve this as well. And that's what we're doing tonight. But
yeah, certainly downloading the app in the first instance, and people using it. I'm sure there's metrics that you could gain from people's use of the app as well. So there'll be a number of those that we can draw on.
Anna? Just on the multi-stories, does it actually give some detail about where the spots are?
No, not within the actual, no. They're measured with incoming and outgoings.
So how are you collecting that every 15 seconds? The
So that's, so the sensors are every 15 seconds, then probably the best place. How often do they refresh for these multi-stories?
They are, I'm not sure that they have, I'm not sure actually, the truth, how they do that. They have a,
I thought it was every 5 minutes. Sorry.
wayfinding machines that are there, but they're, yeah, I think it must be the boom gate when they come in and out. Yeah. Boom gate tickets,
Yeah, I'm not sure. So I'm not sure. So definitely sensors 15 seconds, no dramas.
And
But the rest I'm not sure.
it's a little bit sort of separate, but what's the latest with using Easy Park in the multi-stories?
Yeah, it's a valid payment method, still being, yeah. Argyle Street's now, we've got the API set up with the new technology that we're going, so you can pay through Easy Park as you enter that car park.
So just Argyle at the moment?
Yes.
And
the other one we're working on upgrading the infrastructure there, so you can pay through the Easy Park out through the other two.
And then how about the, so two, how about the UTAS one?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Because that's there,
Correct, yeah,
so they'd have to kind of invest in it, but we should approach them.
Please.
I'm just interested in the rollout because I can see you're probably focusing for the moment on the locals, but the really big investment would probably be with the people coming in from interstate and overseas and so forth. So are we going to be putting some kind of point of contact where you get off the plane and here's a Q code that this is how you access parking in CBD, that kind of thing? And
not yet.
yeah, but that's in, you've got a planned rollout, is my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes for locals first and then sort of see if we can push out. I mean, that, best case scenario goes really well. That'd be something we can push towards.
Yeah, certainly hire car companies.
Yeah, that was the other one. Yeah.
Logical place to start.
And Dan, can you tell whether it's a 1 hour, 2 hour, 15 minute?
Good point. Let's go into
Yeah, so if we go at the front, so yes, it's a metered space, standard. You can, there's on this one, hang on.
Which one is?
That's why live demos are. It's a fair question. Hang on, stay time 30 minutes. So we're playing around with this. This isn't quite what it will look like. So yeah, it's in its final sort of stage of testing.
You probably want to bring that stay time up to the top.
Correct. That's so some of these feedback we've already developed. They're making their final sort of stage.
It'll give you the cost too, Dan, doesn't it? Of each car parking space.
Yeah, correct.
So you can.
So $3.50 an hour.
Yeah.
You should get the balance missing from there. The time as an example.
So what's all that other stuff, Dan?
Here.
Yeah.
That's just the time of operation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you want to try and simplify that, I guess.
Yeah, so we've already passed that on to the developer. That's why I was sort of, it's always risky doing a live demo. So that sort of stuff has been sort of cleaned up in the final version.
Can it just be that if a park isn't available, that it doesn't turn up?
We did ask that, so we're hoping it's funny enough it's more complex.
Okay.
Because the other thing too is, so the sensors still work even at midnight. So at midnight it goes from being a 2 hour regulated space to you can park there all night. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But it's still available, or it's still not available.
But the coding is quite simple, it's just sensor occupied or not.
Correct,
Yes.
so that's why, that was the more important thing, so we
Yeah.
didn't toss up that very question, but
Yeah, so you kind of do need some version of that, because it could be that's Bathurst Street in the market day or whatever.
Correct, so it's how much is an hour, how long is it, it's a really important question, and then what's
Yeah.
the regulatory time, when is it under regulation? So if it's, 9 to 5, 9 to 4 on a Sunday, you need that information.
Yeah, but like Anna said, that would need to be much more user-friendly for the people, like, because regulation is our language or your language, not users.
So it won't look like this,
Yeah.
that way, yeah. It'll look cleaner. But we'll take that, if the feedback is this, you need to change this, we'll make those changes as well, yeah.
I think that if there's, echoing the sentiment of lots of people, if there's opportunity to really focus on making the user interface perfect, even if it's go back and doing coding so that you can just see if the park's available at that time, in the sense that, if there's a regulation that says you can't park there on a Saturday or whatever, that it just doesn't show as available in the map and all that exists. With the intent, I think there's quite a lot of support for this potentially being fully commercialised at the councils, mainly councils and stuff, so we can troubleshoot and keep coming back to it, refining it and making it into an actual product. I think that's helpful. I think the private car park stuff is helpful as well, and I would suggest that they should pay a fee to be on here. I think that's perfectly reasonable because it's advertising their business. And do you know if you need to tick a box or something to make something compatible with Carway? And
no, because as soon as you click on the spot, so
yeah, it'll take you to Google Maps. But if you can you drive this through Carway?
This app? No.
Is there any reason why it can't be doing
because it's running, so it takes you basically to your browser. The app is browser based.
Right.
The next step would be to get.
And that may be something again if we're commercialising.
Yeah. Remember, we're tipping our toes here a bit too. So you know, we're not.
We're testing.
We like it. We think it's good, but we're not going to sort of be spending in, or that's then getting to hundreds of.
No, but if it's if we run it 6
successful,
months, it's very successful. I think there's commercialisation opportunities here that could be income working with is not rates.
We're not the only one that's done this though, sure.
No.
Because I know Easy Park have an app, but that's based on probabilities.
There's
nowhere near as good as this.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what about clearways? Say, for example, Macquarie Street in the morning.
Yeah. So again, it should show you the regulation on, as an example, where are we? So we don't have any sensors up there, or they're not. They're not sensors. Okay. And then the only, I'm just trying to think the only other block that we'd have clearways on at the moment is in this block.
Campbell's Clearway.
Yeah, from Macquarie Street. So that's no standing until they turn off, there's no standing. These are 2 to 6.
Clearway 4 to 6, isn't it there?
Yeah, that's what I'm working. So it's clearway most, they're all available. So yeah, but we need, that's one. So these are the little things, we need to turn this off, 24 to 6.
Maybe if you can't even just go red.
Yeah, I think just remove showing them as it's pretty binary. We want to make it, it's there or it's not there. It's either available or it's not available. So yeah, that's some good feedback. Yeah. Yeah, the other ones that we Salamanca markets is the obvious one, which we're obviously removing all the Salamanca ones on the Saturday. That's going to be really important because otherwise you don't want to be sending people down here on a Saturday morning when they're all available.
400 cars turn up.
Anyway,
So no other questions would make. No, congratulations. It's a positive news story. I think that's great.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's only 20 grand.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the data, because the data says it's 20 grand basically gets you the interface. The data we've already got the sensors, we've already got the feeds, we've already got that stuff. So yeah, it's just to get it all nice and pretty into a interface.
No, it's a fantastic initiative. And the app, you have to go to our website.
Yeah.
Can't we put it on the App Store?
We can, that's an additional cost. I mean, that's what I was saying to Councillor Bossell. That's probably the next phase, to turn it into a fully fledged downloadable app.
Oh, yeah, I just would find it clunky for a tourist to go to a LGA website to, you know what I mean?
We'll try and make it as user-friendly as we can. Because you're right,
Yeah, I'd strongly recommend having a look at that.
Sorry, John, but just to clarify, you once you download it, it still sits on your phone as an icon.
It sits on your phone.
You don't have to always go to the Hobart Council page to use it.
It will then open up a URL on your browser.
Yeah.
But it would look, and it looks as you do on your browser, on your phone, it would look like that.
Have we got a budget for advertising this?
I don't think so.
Well, I think we really should. I mean, once the bugs are ironed out, do the beta stage, and I'd be really pushing this on the rates notices or whatever way we communicate beyond, because I think it's a great news story, and it's great.
No, thank you. That's something that we'll look into.
Gemma.
Can I just ask a question around if any thought has been put into the interaction between this app and parking fines? So I'm thinking, like we've identified the Clearway issue tonight, like if there's something that we can put on here along with don't use this app while you're driving, if the police check the signs, you know, just because our dog is green and you park there, doesn't mean you're not going to get a parking fine.
Yeah.
You haven't.
So rather than directing someone, so you can park here, it's no problem at all, and I can park there, and then not take the next step, which is to look at the regulatory environment.
Well, yeah, you've got to still put money in the meter and check the hours and
Yeah.
check you're not in a clear way, etc., etc.
Yeah. I don't know if we do say fire. Do you mind just hitting enter? Oh, sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah, just something that still says to check the signage. I know a lot of people get caught out without changing of, 3 hour, 2 hour, 5 minute, kind of changing along the street as well.
Yeah. And you could also mention there, and you can use Easy Park to pay.
And you could also say, have you thought about walking into town or riding your bike? Catch the bus.
But I think you might get some angry letters if there's a green dot and people haven't realised there's something else.
The dot won't be green, it'll be blue is the other, so it will be blue dots, so where the agreements go, but I can see your point, there's some more information, so I'll take that on board. That's really easy to do.
We're not putting free spots on there, are we?
Well, they are free after hours.
Yeah, right.
So that's why it's complex. So we're about to hit 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
After 6, all our on the street is free. And the irony being that our busiest time on the street is between 6 and 9. We're about 64% occupancy across the city.
Yeah.
Whereas during business hours, we're only 52.5% occupancy on the street.
Yeah.
That's
last question.
Did you say all our street parking is free after 6?
There are exceptions on average across the CBD. There are exceptions.
Well, Hobart's 9 o'clock and Salamanca's 6. It's weird. Can I ask me that one?
Yeah.
Thanks. Two things just sprung to mind on the actually on Bill's comment about telling people what to take alternative transport. Will there be the opportunity, if it is filled in the city or the car park's full, for us to put a please reconsider or please consider alternative transport at this time to actually alert people before they can drive into a full city? Christmas shopping, when that happens and it's just bedlam.
Yeah. I mean, we'd hope this. You look at this, you go, 0 car parks in Senate, 1 0 in Argyle, there's nothing nearby I want to go.
Yeah, I know, but you've got to think not like Dan for now and think like somebody else, because I think that you sometimes need that.
So just to be clear, we've nothing to say before, we'll match this with Park and Ride, Christmas, the extra ferry service for Christmas, we'll be doing a heavy push. And the reason we do that heavy push and run those services at that time anyway is because car parks are under strain, it's high demand. So we'll hope.
And the final one was opportunity as well in the future to potentially allow advertising of local businesses, so that as you zoom in, you get an area-specific ad that again we can commercialise and get revenue from. To embed advertising into it.
Yeah.
Certainly something we could do. Yeah.
All right. That's fantastic. Thanks for that, Dan. Yeah. No worries. Good. Moving along now. Item number 8 is questions about notice. Are there any questions about notice? Councillor Lyberger.
Thank you, Chair. I just had a question regarding the rally that was held over the weekend. What is the seating capacity of the workers only stand at the North Hobart Oval?
Yeah, the new stand, as I used to call it, for about 100 years, the concrete one.
Next to the really nice
Yeah, the ugly one. Yeah, the Gorring stand.
So we've looked out on a fairly full stadium at times. On playing days, but I didn't actually count the number of people there, so I'm actually going to take that one on notice.
Gorring is 850, and it's really hard.
Yeah. Probably be more.
I appreciate the answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Councillor.
Thanks, Chair. This is a question for Sean Black. Hello. Can you confirm that Council is definitely not using second-generation rodenticides? We've been listed as one of the councils in Australia that has stopped using second-generation rodenticides, which are lethal to birds of prey if they eat rats and rodents and things. Can you confirm? We did do this a couple of years ago. I just wanted to confirm we're still in that space, we haven't forgotten about it. And there's a push nationally to introduce legislation to do away with second-gen rodenticides, which are killing raptors across the country. Can you confirm? What's that on?
Good, thank you. Councillor.
Oh, me first? I'm not sure whether I've already asked this on notice. Let me know if I have. It relates to car parking as well. So there's 3 parts to this question, but it's all around management about multi-stories. How often do Hobart City Council car park staff need to put out witches' hats to warn users of long cars? What is the crash history in our car parks? And how many complaints do we receive about people not being able to get into cars because of large vehicles sort of taking up the full car parking space? I know you'll have to take it on notice.
Yeah, no, well, Ben's just walked out the door, so he'd be the best person placed, but we'll take them on notice.
Yes. And I may have already asked it, but I just can't remember.
Thank you, Lord Mayor. Councillor Elliott.
I think we said at the start that the workshop, these committee meetings are now on YouTube, audio only. Is that correct?
Again, this has happened while I've been away, but that's right.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking in terms of usability for people, being audio only won't be very, not only engaging but also not as informative.
Yeah,
so
no,
it really makes sense we have.
Yeah, we are exploring that, as I was advised today, in terms of the television coverage from in this room. So can you give an update on that, Mike?
Yeah, certainly. Through Chair, we are looking at potentially putting in recording devices here with both audio and visual. As an interim step, we will be having CCTV. That's for security purposes, because this will be, as you know, a public area. It is a public meeting at the moment, so from a security perspective, but we can certainly look at enhancing to have the quality that we do in the chamber of both audio and visual recording of this meeting.
Thank you.
Given that, have we just considered holding these meetings in the council chamber?
That's right.
Given a set up for it?
Well, we haven't at this stage, but again, it was about being more informal than a council meeting, but we can have them in there if that's what the council's preference is. Yeah. Well, this is true.
I like
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
chairs.
Thank you.
I like these chairs better.
It just doesn't really make sense to...
The chairs were discussed at one stage being replaced in the other room there. So anyway, we're not here to debate things on questions without notice, but thank you. Alderman Zuko, did you have any
it's
questions?
the same thing. It's,
Okay.
you know, like we've got a room there already set up. You can still have informal meetings in the chamber. You know, it's not the first time they had informal meetings in there, so just move the meeting to the chamber and save us spending more money.
Chair, question to you.
Sure.
Perhaps we could have a discussion at the end of the meeting, seeing we're in a section where we can't debate about this matter, because I think there's a divergence of opinions on what's occurring. Could you consider doing that?
Is that possible for a brief period? We're on pretty good time at the moment. Yeah, okay, we could have a quick discussion after moving the meetings from here into the chamber.
Well, look, we'll take that on notice. We'll come back to you.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
just
all right. That's all right.
Debate it today.
Yeah, all right.
No, I get
okay.
that. Yeah,
all right. I recall, yeah, all right, I won't say any more, so we're not here to debate the matter. All right, so we'll take that on notice and we'll wait for the report. Councillor.
Thank you, Councillor Kelly. Has there ever been any discussion in the council's history about putting security on the doors for people that are coming into the meetings? Like some kind of scanner or...
I'll give you the history. That's why we've got a security guard, because there was incidences that occurred, and we've still got the security guard, haven't we?
He doesn't come to meetings, but down at the bottom, yeah. So.
Yeah, that was the intent, that we had a security guard on site, but preferable. Security guards are better off being down the bottom. You know.
Yeah, we do.
Only for certain issues.
No.
Yeah.
Not anymore?
Not anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, we used to have a security guard because there was certain instances that occurred, And mind you, over the years, there was a couple of, I think to be one bloke, one night. So.
Perhaps you could put you as a marshal, meeting marshal or something.
Well, I actually agree with it, with Councillor South. I think there should be someone at the entrance to the building, because anything could happen. And I raised this years ago, the same as you can come up the stairs, right, and you can walk through there, and you can go down those stairs into the administration department. I saw a door somewhere near that toilet area, a swipe door, so people couldn't walk in and it got too difficult. But there's another way of a person that can walk up the stairs and get into admin in no time if they're smart enough. Now that sign there that says don't walk down the stairs is not going to stop somebody. So that a doorway similar to downstairs should be put at that point there. That's all I can say.
I do think it's worth consideration. There was a particular meeting where the chair couldn't see that someone from the gallery was standing behind the door abusing Councillor Ledbetter and myself for a considerable amount of time, and I mean, I didn't know what to do in that situation, how to call it out appropriately, and that could be someone who had different intentions next time.
Yeah, no, I've raised this over the years, but it just seems to go by the wayside. I think we need a door here, right, and we need a security guard or someone down the bottom, and it's very important, because anyone, and I'm talking about right across the board, it could be anything that, and we see what's happening around the country, right, anyone can just walk in that door and in no time, crazy.
Something we could consider looking at, yeah, okay.
But I've raised it and raised it and raised it.
All right, well, it's been raised. The CEO said he's going to look at this and report back in a way there. So, one last thing, yeah?
I just think we have to, I mean, the risks for councillors could be in all sorts of locations, so it's, we have to, I just don't want us to take on this huge, you have to balance accessibility and sort of a welcoming, sort of open process, because if we did a risk assessment we might decide not to do our workshops out in the community because it's, a risk that someone might be around. So there's a challenge with how much you sort of anticipate worst case scenarios, and it's a real, I just want to flag that's a difficult balancing act, I think. So, but also in that particular case, I think you should have said point of order. There's a person abusing us, and just stood up in your seat and said point of order, because I can then, if you alert me to it, you can interrupt the meeting for that purpose. That's point of order.
I mean, I mean, this could extend to car park security. When you leave, someone could be waiting out there. It's the risks that probably should be looked at. Someone could always put a motion forward that we to do that, I guess. Or there are plenty of mechanisms for us to do that if someone feels strongly enough about that.
Well, look, the CEO's heard.
Yeah, he's heard
it, and the CEO can come up with
some initial response to that, whether it warrants going to a deeper dive on that. Okay, so that concludes the open portion of the meeting. We'll now move into the close. So I invite elected member to move a motion that we go into the close. Thank you, Alderman Bloomfield. And I put that motion, so all those in favour, against, passed, floor is closed. Thank you very much.